What is going on, everyone? What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode 81 of the STS Guys. I am Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
Hey guys, it's Nate.
And I'm Scott.
And we are the STS Guys, a weekly podcast where we sit around, shoot the shit, and talk about anything geeky and nerdy and cool. I'm not going to even ask what's going on this week, guys, because like I said, it doesn't matter. Because like I said, we all did the same thing this week.
It was like a week. It was the mad dash too, for to go see this. Everyone knows we're gonna be fucking talking about Endgame at this point. I'm not gonna try to beat around the bush like, woo, what are we talking about today? It's Endgame. Like it came out this weekend, but
nothing else matters.
Can I give one little kudos to all of us though? None of us actually coordinated a big let's all go out and watch it because we have to get it done before the episode airs tonight. Yet all of us managed to see it within the first day. It was either Thursday night or Friday that all of us had seen this thing. Just kind of independently rushed to it. Kudos, and it gives the power of this movie that it forced all of us to think. I took a day off of work to go watch it.
I might have left work early. Off the record. Oh, wait.
I went Thursday night. I wanted to see it as soon as possible.
I probably saw it the latest. I saw it actually this morning.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Nice. Risky.
Slacking here.
Because it's risky because you had to go 2 full days without having anyone spoil that.
No, I
was afraid of going one day.
I literally checked out of social media for the most part. Like I said, I made a couple posts and stuff, but other than that, like I said, I didn't scroll through feeds and do anything just because I'm I didn't want to spoil this for myself. And speaking of that, if you haven't seen the movie, like I said, we're gonna get into some heavy spoilers. So just want to put out the hashtag spoiler tag right now. Like I said, this week's episode we are talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen Endgame, make sure go watch Endgame, and then come back to the episode. I said tune into one of the audio versions, so that way you can go ahead and hear our thoughts about the movie. So hashtag spoiler alert, spoiler alert, can't say it enough, spoiler alert.
We're legitimately breaking our own rule, right? Our rule is usually give us a week. We're breaking that for this one. There is no way to talk about this movie without spoiling it. So
yeah, we've been debating about this actually. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna do spoilers or not? We're all so hyped for the movie. We've all seen it. We'll try to do what we can. Maybe at first not to spoil, but it's going to be spoiler heavy. So we're saying it again. Spoiler.
Let's just go ahead and say it. I said it's going to be spoiler. It's to everyone's point, it is going to be hard not to spoil it, but it's going to be crazy. So
I was saying it before we got on the air. The only way to not spoil the movie is to talk about the first 20 minutes of the movie. Which is basically the trailer. Like I said,
yeah. I have to say, well, first and foremost, kudos to Marvel Studios. Like I said, when they said, "Hey, that trailer was just the first 20 minutes, within the first 20 minutes of the movie," I'm like, really? I'm like, come on. I'm like, how's that thing is? And it really was the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, they did a really good job bringing everything into that very front heavy part to make a whole trailer that you thought there's going to be this whole movie on this thing. And yeah, that was everything was at the beginning. I was very surprised was after the captain scene when he's in the support group. Yeah. Because by then I'm I think I've pretty much seen everything that was in the trailers. I have no idea what's going on next.
Yeah. I think, it was in that third trailer. I think that's the only thing I recognized. And it's the part where it shows Thanos on the battlefield in his armor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little bit later on in the movie, but I agree. The first 2 trailers were all the first 20 minutes.
I think. Well, here's the thing. I think that speaks volumes to how impactful this movie was, and how good they could actually craft a trailer. Literally from the first 20 minutes of a movie. Like I said, it's of a 3-hour movie. They used the first 20 minutes to basically craft the trailer, and it got everyone hyped for the movie. I think everyone was hyped already, but I said it served as enough hype to basically, you know what? Hey, I want to see how this ends. I want to see.
Yeah. It drew people in,
exactly,
for sure.
Well, and everybody's hyped for this. This is one of the biggest movie events in history.
So here's the thing: did anyone notice with Infinity War did a whole bunch of like alteration and fake scenes. I really didn't notice that with this one. Like,
They did a few subtle things like Black Widow's hair.
yeah,
Like there are a few like easy photoshops.
And Smart Hulk inside
Yeah.
that scene with Rocket and Hawkeye in the trailer.
Mhm.
Like so that's so there, like I said, Smart Hulk's not there when that thing was talking about like, hey, we have to do something.
you know, when I was actually thinking about it when he's running through the tunnel and he blows it up. When Hawkeye is running, that scene was played a lot in the trailers, where he has a little like flashlight on his wrist.
Yeah. He didn't have the gauntlet.
There was no gauntlet in his hands, but he was running with it in the movie. Actually, I stand corrected. There is that one too.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did a really good job of editing stuff out. That.
So I have to say, like I said, I started talking about this a little bit before we got started with the episode. So Scott, I don't know if you were here yet, but I think I said I'm happy because I'm like, this is it. I'm like, this is the movie to do it. This is going to unseat that shitty Avatar movie. And like, I'm like, I know it's going to do it. I know it's going to happen. I know
Pocahontas in space.
Yeah, it's going to unseat Pocahontas in space. I know people love Avatar. Like I said, and like I said, not honestly, like I said, it was a quote unquote visually stunning movie. Like I said, it was, like I said, the special effects for the time of when that came out, and I said this the world that created it was great. But literally, it's Pocahontas in space. Like I said, it made ridiculous amounts of money for basically telling Pocahontas in space. This original, like I said, original story, like I said, it's already making hand over fist money, and so now we're starting to get. I was reading a few different articles. Like I said right before we jumped on the podcast. I said now we're starting to get those figures, and so they were. So if you kind of think about it, they were super quiet about pre-sale figures. They didn't tell you anything. I said, this is the only movie I've ever purchased where I had to wait in a queue line in order to purchase tickets, like online. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So
And it had like a lottery going on, like that's nuts.
Exactly.
Well,
So
didn't AMC's like site go down like pretty much all day?
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy.
So it's been quiet. Like so, they normally says like, hey, it's like they sell. We sold this many tickets. And I forgot the figure. So it was Fandango pre-sold more Endgame tickets than Captain Marvel, Aquaman, Infinity War, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens combined.
Yeah. I was reading that too, that they had sold
twice as many as all those movies combined.
Yeah, like that many more than that's insane.
Yeah. I was talking to the dude last night at the theater I went to, like the guy who worked there. And for Thursday night, they had Endgame playing in 22 out of the 24 theaters they had. And the two that didn't have it is because they had a contract with those two movies and they had to play it. So like, yeah, it's going to make so much money when you're maxing out your theater capacity. Like it's just insane.
Well, then I said that I was reading another article where there's several movie theaters, and even like there's some of the Cinemarks around where I am at. They're cranking out that movie 24/7 throughout the weekend.
Yeah. No, so, Scott and I, like, because I didn't have tickets until like late on Thursday. Scott and I were looking, like they were adding. What was it? There was like a 6 a.m. showing or something that popped up, and they were going till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And because we were talking, like, man, this is a 3-hour movie. Like, who's going at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, it's just insane.
You're gonna spend that much time, you pass out. So, and I think what it was is Disney wanted that record. To be honest, like with that, because I think with the original like plan, somebody did the math and were like, it's going to be, because it's 3 hours long, they can't make 300 million over the weekend domestic because of like theater limitations, right? You can only show it like, I think they're saying about 3 times per 12-hour.
Yeah, because it's long.
For 12 hours, because it's long.
Somebody did the math for like how long it was, how many theaters, like how many actual like what is it, screens are in each of the theaters, and it wasn't going to be able to make 30 million.
Yeah. So, but then the theaters were like, we're giving you that record. Yeah. We're gonna extend our hours to 24/7.
Well,
and now they're hitting a $300+ million opening potentially, which will actually be the first movie to ever do that.
Yeah, and then they said, they're just the theaters are just freaking printing money right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Concessions.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what. Went to the theater that has like the dinners. I ended up spending like $60 on beers and stuff while I was in there. Like, yeah.
And that's the thing. They know they're going to get all those sales. They know people are going to get the concessions. It's one of the biggest movie events in history, like I said before.
I
mean, we're getting popcorn.
It's
Like,
dumb if they don't offer as many show times as possible.
But how awesome is it? Just before we get into like to the movie though, I said I except just for I said, Larry and Scott, I said they have kids and stuff like that. How awesome is it? They said that I said this is the Star Wars of our time. Like I said, we were there for that event. So this movie, like I said, this I think
you mean like 1977 A New Hope, right?
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, this is that type of caliber where I think this is like one of those movies that's literally going to stand the test of time. Like it's going to be one of those like, oh man, Avengers. Like I said, it's going to be that like, hey, oh man, you saw Avengers in the theaters. Like it's
like, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, and at most before a movie like this or an entire series like this, you get like a trilogy, maybe 3 movies, but we got 22 movies that all interlink together.
Yeah,
I mean, there is nothing like it.
I was just going to bring up the fact that you compare it to Star Wars, but imagine if Star Wars had 22 movies in the 70s before it got to that point. Like, that is amazing that they were able to link that many movies and
keep them good.
Keep them good.
Keep them all relatively good, right? Looking at you, episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, like
and specifically, they said Larry and Scott. Like said, look how you've increased your family size since these movies started. Like, it's nuts. Like I said, back in 2008. I said when Iron Man first came out. Like I said, to now,
neither of us were parents.
Exactly.
No.
I wasn't married. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy to think about.
My whole kind of adult life, these movies have been a thing.
Yeah.
It's just
I have such love for Marvel that they're able to do this in the movie was so amazing, but it makes me a little scared for the futures because of what happened in this movie. Like, I don't know how they're going to be able to top all this, It's going to be real hard for me.
Can I drop in what I think is going to be the next big bad, or what should be the next big bad now that they officially own Fox?
Do it.
Galactus. I think that's going to be one of the next big bads. I think we're going to get a Herald that's going to show up, and they're going to fight him, and then find out like, dude, I'm just here to deliver the message, and then you're going to get a good like Avengers, another team up to go after Galactus. I think they got to go like Celestials, right? And like the Eternals and everything. Like they got to go big.
Yeah.
No, and I think there's so many different things that can go. So I think with that, let's get into the movie, just because I think a lot of our other conversations will split off into kind of the future of the MCU from different events that have happened in this movie.
Yeah.
So how do you guys want to do this? Like I said,
let's do our traditional thing.
Yeah, let's do our ranks first.
Let's do our ranks out of 5.
Yeah.
And then let's go into
like favorite part.
Favorite,
like,
and kind of favorite parts.
Like a quick favorite part.
Yeah. So I think we should start with that, and then we can get into kind of like specifics. The good, the bad, and the ugly with the movie here.
Yeah. I like it. Go for it, Scott. What do you got?
4.75. I had maybe 3 things that I didn't like in the movie that didn't get it a perfect 5.
It's fair.
And the best part, which was the greatest thing in the world. You know my love for a certain character.
I knew it.
And when that little motherfucker picks up Mjolnir and starts beating the living shit out of Thanos, like seeing Cap with the hammer is boom, like fucking amazing. I was hoping it was gonna happen since Age of Ultron, and it came true.
I knew it.
Yeah. Kind of going through here, like, and the best part of it, I will say this, was kind of Thor's reaction wasn't like, "Oh, like shit, somebody else can pick up the hammer." He's just like, "I knew it," and then they just tag team. Like it was
awesome.
Like it was, they played it so great to have like Thor, Iron Man, and him fighting Thanos, and for him to be able to wield the hammer, like that was amazing. Like hands down, best part of the movie for me.
Yeah, that was really, really awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that could be all of our favorite scene, right?
Yeah, it was
like,
just
totally mine.
So unexpected, but so awesome. Like just such good fan service. Because ever since that one time in Age of Ultron where he tried to pick it up and barely moved it, you've always wondered, is he going to attempt it again?
Yeah, and kudos for them to like plant something like that all the way that far back to like just a hint that maybe he can do it,
right?
And then to finally bring it back like X number of movies, but was that like 15 movies later to be able to pull that in and be like, here you go, like he actually can, like no issue, pick this thing up.
Well,
it was awesome.
And yeah, if you think about it, like why now can he do it? Maybe it was because of what happened in Civil War and he got that secret off his chest. Maybe now he's like totally worthy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
Makes you wonder why.
Right?
You know,
Well,
changed.
And he watched all his friends, right? Half his friends get dusted or whatever. Like maybe that's him doing it with it too,
and continue to fight to like try to make the world better, and did everything he could to like save humanity, and like he's fighting to save the universe
and everything he's sacrificed. I think he's basically sacrificed. He's selfless and his self-sacrificial. So I think that kind of helped too.
Yeah, well said. During that scene, like as much as I was enjoying it, did anyone else get scared that he was going to die? So I'm like, this is so awesome. And then like something clicked. I'm like, oh crap, he's gonna die.
Yeah, like this is amazing. This is how they kill him. Like, no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thankfully that worked out. But yeah,
really
I got so
stressful
scared
to watch that whole thing.
Yep.
All right, so Jeremy, let's go to you next.
So I'm gonna go a 4.5. Like I said, there are a couple like I said I love the movie. Like I said, altogether, like I said, there's just some really gaping plot holes. Like
there are a few
big crater sized plot holes.
Can I say that this is why I didn't want fucking time travel? Like, can I claim this as to like you're opening yourself up to too much shit when you do time travel? Like, I'm gonna call that.
Yeah.
Like, because I said that before. Like, don't fucking do time travel.
We'll give that to you.
Yeah. Don't do time travel.
There's some
because you forget your own time travel rules.
Yeah, there's some big glaring potholes.
You forget your rules.
Yeah.
And even if you try to go one way, then it makes something else a plot hole. So like, no.
Yeah.
Time travel is off limits.
So like I said, so solid 4.5. Like I said, it's honestly probably one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen. Like I said, it's literally up there. Like I said, I think it's because, like I said, it's a true homage, not only to, like I said, the last, like I said, 10 years of these movies, but like I said, it had you invested in the movie from beginning to the end. Like honestly, like for me, like I said, sitting in the theater, it didn't even feel like 3 hours, to be honest with you.
Nope. Not at all.
Like to me, it went by. Like I said, like that.
Went by in a snap.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, the multiple endings, a la Return of the King, did start to get a little bit like, okay, it's over, and that's like new ending. You're like, holy fuck, dude, just end this shit. Like that one did kind of drag on a little bit, but up until that point, it flew by.
I didn't even notice until I was driving home. Then I'm like that clicked too. I'm like, hey, that like normally like I'm the biggest one to complain about long movies, but like I didn't even think about how long it was once. No, like that's just crazy, right? And afterwards, I'm like, man, that didn't even feel like 3 hours. It was
the movie had such a good pace. It just kept going and kept going and kept going, and like you're just like, what's going to happen next? You know, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Yeah, no slow points. Like every scene counted. Like I saw an article on Collider where they're like, all right, this is when you need to go to the bathroom, and they named one time when it starts raining in Tokyo, and there's the Ronin scene. Sorry. There's that one like 5-minute scene that while it's cool, if you had to go to the bathroom, you got 5 minutes. You can run back because there's not a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, I went and I told Nate this time when it was test number 1. That's where I ran.
Is that like I missed the test number 1. What was that?
So it was when he said it's where he makes turns Scott
Lang.
Lang into the baby and then the old man. Right after that, after that little scene, there's a little conversation between Tony Stark and Captain America. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to the bathroom. Let me know if they say anything. And I like tore off and then rush back. I think I missed like 2 minutes of the movie
when Tony gives Cap the shield, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gives it back to him.
You're right. That's a good kind of throwaway scene too.
So it's funny, like Scott was strategizing this week, and he pulls me over. He's like, "Hey, man, all right, if you need to go to the bathroom during this movie, you need to do it.
Here's where it is
at test number 1 scene."
So I will say I successfully made it through 2 showings of Endgame without going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I did not go to the bathroom the entire time. I thought that's why
I didn't either.
That went by super fast for me. But as far as my favorites, I said, can I give one thing? I said why it's a 4.5 too, and
go ahead.
And as I said, as much as I wanted to keep the universes separate, like I said, in that giant battle scene, would have killed them to show Punisher just like shooting somebody, or show like Jessica Jones punching somebody out, like just literally a quick flash by, just to acknowledge it.
Well, I mean, they went back and showed the ancient one was killing Chitauri out in New York during the thing. Like she's clearly out there like defending the Sanctum Sanctorum. So like
that was awesome too.
Yeah, that was really actually pretty cool. That you're like, oh, like she's still around and she's
So it's like I said, I would like I said, I know they just wanted to keep them separate, and like I said, I would have just loved just a flash. Like for example, there's that one scene where like Hawkeye's traveling. And then Rocket ends up like shooting one of the guys, and then goes and that. Oh no! It was Black Panther ends up like say, "Hey, give the glove to me."
Yeah. And
then someone ends up shooting like one of the guys that's on Hawkeye. Like it would have been so awesome. I'm like, come on, like
the just have Bernthal.
Like have Punisher
have Bernthal.
Like with a minigun, like said, that would have been like I would have lost it. I would have lost it at that point. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is it. This is like literally.
Or just have you don't even have to show them. Just have like somebody running and have somebody get clipped with a billy club, like that comes off the screen and it's just bing, and you're like, oh, there's. Like I said, Daredevil was apparently there.
Do like a Wolverine scene where he's in the bar and they're like, "You want to help us out?" And he's like, "Fuck off."
Yeah, like literally, it's like just a quick little flash, like fan how much. Like I said, I know that's just me, but it's just I think it would have been a great acknowledgement to like this whole universe. But as far as my favorite scene goes, though, honestly, like I said, I was gonna say holding the hammer, but I'm gonna choose a different one. The first introduction of Fat Thor.
Dude, okay. I told it like good. Captain America holding the hammer is my favorite scene, but my favorite character in the show, Fat Thor is a runner-up. Korg in this movie when he's playing
when he's playing Fortnite.
When he's playing Fortnite on PS4. Right?
Dude, what's your favorite part about that?
And he's like Thor. There he goes again. He's calling me a dickhead. Like
no. Wait. So let's acknowledge the fact that this was 5 years in the future and Fortnite's still a thing.
Yeah.
True.
Right? Fortnite's still around, guys.
Yeah. And kids are still apparently calling other people dickheads over the.
No, and the fact that Fat Thor basically embodied, like I said, here's the fact that Fat Thor embodied the persona of the dude from Lebowski.
It's so random.
Oh, and they bring up the Big Lebowski at one point. They say,
he calls him Lebowski.
Tony does.
Yeah. It was so great.
No, like I said, that has to be like I said, if I can't choose Hammer, I'm like, if I want to choose something different, I'm like the introduction of Fat Thor and that whole scene right there. Amazing.
Well, and you got to give the good credit for the end too, with the As Guardians of the Galaxy drop at the end with him, like kind of the, it calls back to some of the more recent comics with it. So
and we'll get into future setup here in a second, because there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
But, Nate, why don't you go next and then Larry?
Sure. So I'm gonna be that guy and give it a 5 out of 5 because I loved it. Yeah, there's some things that were a little questionable and maybe 1 or 2 scenes that sort of annoyed me, but what I said earlier, the movie just kept me on the seat of the edge of my seat the entire time. I was so into the movie. Yeah, it was amazing. It had everything for the longtime fans. You got to see all your favorite characters. Some of them a lot different. Smart Hulk was hilarious and such a cool treat to see him finally become Smart Hulk.
Can I say Mark Ruffalo's best MCU performance?
Yes, I was just going to say
yeah.
that actually. Yeah, his best MCU performance by far. But yeah, there's so many great treats for the fans, so many unexpected scenes that I was like legitimately surprised quite a few times. And I love the hell out of it. So 5 out of 5. My favorite scene was when they're all running at each other and you see Giant Man in the background running, and it's like popping right off a comic book for me. That was like such a cool scene. You see the entire MCU running.
No, literally, that scene right there, Nate. Like I said, there's a scene. There's like 10 seconds before that, and I want a poster of this. Like it was like almost like angelic, where like I said, you see all the battleships and you see Thanos there, and then you see the lone Captain America and the sun, and like I said, and there's the sun slightly peeking through the clouds, and when they back up that shot a little bit,
Yeah,
like that.
I know what shot you're talking about.
Right before he does the charge to like
Yeah. So it's
then when it's right after he pulls like the shield tight over what's clearly a broken arm.
Yeah,
and like he stands up to get like
up, and then I said they back up the camera. Like I said it's just that right there would be like an awesome painting, like or a poster. Like I said, if they need to screen clip that and make it a poster or something, I would buy it.
Mondo, are you listening?
Yes.
Please give us that.
Thank you. I was gonna say, sounds like a Mondo poster, man.
Mondo needs to get on that because I would be done.
That whole scene with Giant Man running in the background, you see all the individual Avengers. It was one of the coolest scenes in any movie they've done. All right, Larry.
So I guess I'm the lowest.
4.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. Well nice. Done. It was really good. Like it was an amazing movie. Again, I've seen it twice, so I've had a little bit more time, right, to reflect on it. I think I like Infinity War just like a hair more than Endgame, just because of the amazing way that Infinity War was able to give all those characters really good screen time. This one was focused a lot more on, like, obviously people were still alive, right? But the way that Infinity War was able to weave through the Guardians of the Galaxy to Iron Man to Captain America, like that was just like cinematically, it was just really awesome.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, right. Endgame, like it was good. The way that they were able to go back in time and basically go into all their other movies, right? Or the 3 other, well, there's more than 3, but right, they're able to go into all those different movies. That was amazing too. Right. Yeah. That was just so cool. This is the only franchise that would be able to do that. You could go back to Thor Dark World. You could go back to the first Avengers movie. That was amazing too, right? That's something really cool. Again, like cinematically, like it's never really been done before because there's never been that option. But yeah, again, I think I like it just a hair less than Infinity War, but it's really hard to rate these things like the first weekend. I need some more time with it. Favorite character wise, I agree with Heather in the chat. Ant-Man, all of the Ant-Man scenes were just so awesome. I think my favorite was at the very end where they're like, we need the quantum realm thing, or like, right, Thanos blew up the thing that lets them go back in time, and Ant-Man's like, well, I think I got one, and it's the key thing and plays the La Cucaracha or whatever. Yeah. Like that was just perfect. Right?
I do love the fact that it brought back the van.
Yeah, I just love Paul Rudd, and he was so much like the first Ant-Man movie is one of my favorites. The second one was just, I remember Nate said it stuck out to me. Like the second Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, Ant-Man's suit was broken the whole time, and it was just like downer. But this one let Paul Rudd just come out and be Paul Rudd again, and it was so good. So hopefully we get like an Ant-Man 3 that's funny and quirky and just like that, right? Even when what was it? When Hope calls Captain America Cap, and like Paul Rudd just looks over at her and smiles, like, yeah, all the Paul Rudd stuff is gold.
No, he stole the show. Like, so honestly, I said, to your point, Larry, I said they let Ant-Man be. I said they let Ant-Man Scott Lang be Scott Lang, and it's. I think that there's a lot of different things kind of weaved into his story in this one. Like, honestly, like I said, when that scene when he first got out of the quantum realm, and like, so when he's like, and he's going through, and he's got like this like little wagon full of stuff, and he's like going through. And then he doesn't know what happened because he's been gone so long. Like I said, it's just you see the emotions there, you see everything else, but then you see like his drive and determination to like, hey, you know what? Hey, I have this idea. I just don't know how to put it together. And so.
Right, he's saying the same thing over and over again. And right when he meets up with Cap and Black Widow, and he eats her sandwich.
I just thought it was like, is that anybody's sandwich?
Yeah. No, I totally.
Can we call out the random Ken Jeong cameo in that scene where he first comes out, where he doesn't say anything?
Yeah, there are a couple of those scenes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
He's playing the security guard that no lines, just was there.
Just there.
Yeah. I don't know why, but okay.
Just before we go on from the Ant-Man stuff, I just wanted to bring up one thing. And I feel like I totally agree with what you guys are saying. And I feel like it was almost intentional to put Ant-Man more into the movie because of what happened. So now he's more of a key player, whereas before he was more of like a side character. Now he's like officially part of the team.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're right. He was just the guy that they called in Civil War, right? And when he shows up at the gate of the Avengers place, he's like, "You might not remember me, but like we fought in Germany."
Right.
He's not even sure if they even know who he is.
Yeah,
now
it's like
he's an Avenger.
Their way of kind of building out a new team.
Right.
Well, especially since like I said, it's literally his technology. All of their time travel suits were basically Ant-Man's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's the one who had the PIM particles. Yeah.
That's
right?
true.
Scott Lang saved the world.
Right. I do love how he's like, we only have time for 2 tests. One test.
Technically,
but
Scott Lang didn't say the role. But credit to Pet Rat #1 that's credited in the movie. He said that rat saved the world.
Yeah,
true. By bringing him back.
So that was the thing that everyone thought. Like, can we give credit to this? That everyone thought the time travel was going to be him, like stuck in the quantum realm, and like time traveling to get out of it.
Yes,
that was like everyone's fan theory. And how does he get out of the quantum realm? A goddamn rat steps on the controller and hits the button to bring him out.
And
like,
honestly,
it made it so great because I was like, oh, thank God they're not doing time travel.
Yeah,
and they still did.
I think they could have gone the other way. Is this? I don't think they could have had a 4-hour movie. Like I said, it's just,
true.
What you have to cut it off someplace. And like I think for as well paced as this movie was, like I'm wondering what's left on the cutting room floor. Just because that they had to cut some stuff, and
they did some reshoots too, so there's definitely a lot that had to get redone.
It's still 3 hours, so I'm wondering, like I said, how much stuff is still left. So I'm wondering, like I said, if like I said, some of those theories, like I said, could have actually been something, and it's just like, you know what, if we cut this out, we can cap it at 3 hours. So hey, you know what, he gets out by be a rat.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Here's a question I have for you guys, because I was thinking about this today. Do you think they could have told the story as impactfully as they did, but not had it 3 hours? Like, do you think that they could have told that like, would the story have been as good, in your opinion, had it been a shorter movie, but they had to take some stuff out?
That final battle scene was what, an easy 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, you could have cut that down. It wouldn't have been the right decision, but you could have cut that shorter. A lot of times, even a lot of other movies, like even Infinity War, like the final battle scene was pretty quick. Like it feels like it's not a real struggle. This one had ups and downs, and you didn't know who was going to win and who's going to lose, but you got that because they spent time on it. That's one thing that stands out to me, that I'm like, I appreciated it, but like if you're talking about things you could cut, like maybe different director, different situation, they would have cut that end scene a little bit short.
So what? I want to let's see here. There's so much to talk about. I'm trying to figure out a lot. I'm trying to figure out how to organize it. Just because I said with specifically with stuff that's cut, there's like questions that I have, and I'm sure there's questions that you guys have. And I want to see if my questions kind of align with, like I said, your guys' questions. So do you mind if we get into the questions that we each have about the movie?
Yeah, let's get into it, because this is my biggest problem is with one, and I want to see if you guys agree with me on this.
What is it, Scott? No.
Let's let Jeremy go. Let's let Jeremy go, because let's let him start this one, then we'll do mine next.
So, like I said, I'm going to go kind of back from end to beginning, and it seems like a weird way to do it. So, spoiler alert, Tony Stark dies.
No.
At that funeral.
Wait, what?
So at that funeral scene, they said they focus on all the different groups of people. You know, they focus on this group and this group, and then there's like this random kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
hold on.
Nate and I figured this one out.
Yeah, I looked this up right when I got out of the movie. That is the kid from Iron Man 3.
So that's the kid.
Little, the
That's
little
the
kid that helps him in Iron Man 3.
The kid he gives the flash grenade to, basically.
Okay, so I'm like, who the hell is this kid?
Nate can attest because literally we got on last
Mortal
night,
Kombat, and you
started
were
playing
asking
Mortal
me that,
Kombat,
yeah.
and I was like, dude, do you know who this kid was? Like, because there's this whole scene and it focused on this kid. I don't know who that is. He's not in any other part of the movie. And Nate's like, I looked it up. Yeah, it's this kid. So Iron Man 3 kid.
Okay, so that's Iron Man 3 kid. Okay,
I had the same question. I was like, who the fuck was that kid? Like, who is that?
because there's a specific spot where they focus on. Like I said, they focus on, like I said, all these people like specifically for a reason. So like that's when they're going through and focusing, and they pan by him. They stay on him just for a few extra seconds, and then when they start to pan around. Okay, so that question is answered. So Iron Man 3 kid, potential future stuff there. Great.
Yeah, that leads into that kid could become the new Tony Stark, and we could get Tony AI.
Yeah. So
and I don't know if that's official. Like, yes, that's who it was, but that's a theory that I read. So I don't know. I'm looking up right now just to make sure
it's official because I saw it too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
right.
it was.
Jeremy,
He was like 10 in Iron Man 3, and now he's like 16, so he doesn't look the same. But yeah, it's that kid. It makes sense too, right? Like he had an impact on Tony's life. Somehow they must have stayed in touch, and they were able to call him up. That's cool.
Yeah, cool.
So Larry, this may be more question for you.
Putting Larry on the spot.
Yeah,
you've seen the movie twice. You've seen the movie.
I have.
Twice. So you may except I don't know if I'm not remembering something right or not. So the whole Captain Marvel scene, you know, destroying the spaceship, this, that, and the other, blah 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 blah. Is that why Doctor Strange points up? Or
no.
That
happens after.
So no. So when he does this,
that's telling Tony that there's one more. This is the one time.
Because he said he can't tell him because it won't come true. Because I think the reason he can't tell him, we'll go through this. So Doctor Strange can't tell Tony why the one.
Or if this is the one out of the 3 million.
Out of the 3 million, because it won't come true, because he'll try to ask more specifics, and that involves him dying. Which is why he had to stay alive. Everyone's like, oh, Tony's going to build the machine or whatever. It's like, no, Tony literally kills himself to stop Thanos.
Yeah.
At the very end, he was telling him, yeah, this is the one time. Sorry, Larry.
No, it's okay. Because it's right up to that last second, right? It's like, this is it, dude. Go do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And like ultimately he dies. Because if, like Scott said, if Doctor Strange told him too much, like it would alter it, because it'd be in his head, like, I got to do this and I'm going to die. And right, what about Pepper? What about Morgan? Like, what about all this other stuff? Like,
maybe he doesn't. Yeah, maybe he backs out.
But that last second when it's like, oh crap, we're either going to lose because Thanos is about to put that gauntlet back on, or I go over there and do something about it. So he had to go over there and do something.
And assumingly, Strange knows what's going to happen. So, he kind of figures like, I'm going to steal all the gems. Looks over at Strange, and he's like, yeah,
do it, man.
Do it. Like, that's your one. This is the one shot.
Yeah, that was really cool. Because that scene had you so stressed out because Thanos keeps getting it and he keeps getting it, and then he gets it. You're like, no.
Right. And then Thor's asked to cut that hand off again, like he did at the beginning.
Right. And then it was, they see him go up into Tony's hand, and you're just like, holy shit. Yeah, and then you get super scared for Tony at the same time because you're like, man, this is not going to be good.
Yeah. All right. So then, like the next question, and this leads to, I said, one of the plot holes, I think. So Loki and the Tesseract.
Yep. I don't think that's a plot hole. I think that's setting up that Loki's still alive, so you can still do stuff with Loki.
Because they got that show coming
out. That is. Yeah.
It's going to lead right into the show, I think.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, like how did they?
Adventures of Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because right. So at the end, like Captain America has to go return all the Infinity Stones that they stole to the time that they stole them. But they forgot about the fact that Loki stole one of them during that New York scene, right? And Cap and Tony had to go back in time even further. So they totally forgot about that part.
Yeah. So, but that kind of leads into the whole thing. Can I get into why my issue with it, Jeremy? Because this is the perfect time to bring it up. The idea, like the issues that I had, is they forgot their own goddamn rules of time travel.
Yeah, and I think that's
So that's a case in point, right? Like what they said is now that Loki doesn't get sent back to Asgard after Avengers, right? Which means there's no real dark world because he's not part of it, right? In that timeline. So it made a new timeline with him being
Traveling
gone,
around.
right? That's not part of our timeline. It created a new alternate branch, right? Ours doesn't change, but there's a new timeline with him still alive.
Right.
So here's my question. They bring in Thanos from 2014 with his whole ship and everything, along with a bad version of Nebula, right?
bad Nebula.
Nebula kills herself, so it kind of proves that it's a branching timeline, right? She kills herself, and she herself doesn't die. So what she does in the past doesn't affect the future, right?
I was ready for her to like fall down, be like, and then disappear or something.
Right?
Didn't happen.
So that here's the question: when Captain America goes back in time and decides to live a full life, shouldn't that be in an alternate timeline? Because he was not supposed to be there in our timeline. How was the fucking old man Captain America sitting right there? He should not be able to be there. He should be in a different timeline based on their own goddamn rules.
It's true.
But you look so intense right now.
But then he wouldn't be able to give the shield to Falcon.
Right, but it's the whole thing of like
it's convenient.
So no one knows that there's another like old man Captain America just chilling around there. Like at any point, he couldn't like warn them like, hey, by the way, you got to unfreeze me in 2012 so I can go fight the thing. Like, no, like that. It doesn't make sense. Like
it's weird.
If either he can stay there and then fucking Nebula has to die to keep the thing that running. Well, like you can't go back.
You just mentioned the other weird one too. What about Gamora? Where's 2014 Gamora?
Well, so
that's Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's the search for Gamora. If that end scene, like I said, that end scene towards the end of Quill and all them on the ship didn't set that up. That set up Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's what it is. Like I said, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. The search for Spock, like in Star Trek.
The search for Nebula.
Search for
Gamora.
Or Gamora. Sorry.
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think it only works because it's the same Captain America and he's only messing with himself? There's not another Captain America.
Yeah, but
so it's the same one from the same timeline.
He would cause changes. Him existing back in the 60s and 70s would impact our timeline, but they didn't, right?
Yeah.
They know for a fact that he was disappeared for that entire time frame. So it would have had to have been in an alternate timeline. So he would have either had to figure out a way to jump back into ours, but they didn't. They wanted to be like, but if you go into the past and just stay there, it doesn't follow the same rules. So
the only thing I thought about that is I think he's going back in time when he is still frozen. So that there's actually a different Captain America that actually fulfills the same life. But yeah, to your point, it maybe should have branched out because that's what the Hulk said. But the Hulk, the Captain America from that timeline is still frozen. So maybe he wakes up, he lives the full life, he does everything he's going to do, and then he goes back again. But you know what I mean?
But there's no news article at any point that has him like in a picture in it that someone could figure out. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. should have known that he was around. Like he was porking the fucking main lead of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Like they know he's around. It should not have been a surprise. Like it should have been. They should have been able to be like, oh, hey, at any point in the 60s or 70s, if we need some help, he's like 50 something, but like we can still go get Captain America to help fight like Vietnam. At no point, that's the thing that I got that I was like, dude, what's going on with that?
Wait, but who knows that he didn't go help fight with Vietnam? You don't know. We don't know what happened, right? All we know is he danced with Peggy, and then he's sitting on a bench.
Yeah, as an
That's all
old
we know.
man.
He
Like,
had to do something
as-
between A and B.
As a married old man.
Yep.
Right, but he probably had to stay in obscurity. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Probably.
Like,
But we
that
don't know.
aspect
Maybe-
needs to be explained because, in that case, why return any of the stones? Right? Like,
Kind of, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so here's a question I have too. So we have. Do you think we'll have a Splinter story? What happens? Because one of the other deaths that was kind of surprising in the movie, I think, is Black Widow, right? So the death on Vormir. So if he's placing the stone back, does that soul then come back?
yeah, how does he place the soul back?
Yeah, how do
you give that one specifically back?
I don't know.
How do you
Yeah.
place that one back? And so I think that's what's interesting.
Mhm.
So, I just realized something. Holy shit! He had to go back to Vormir, right?
Yeah.
To give back the stone.
Oh, Red Skull.
Who's Red Skull? He had to go back and interact with Red Skull.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
Like, why was that not shown?
Crazy.
Like the
That-
reunion to find out, like, holy shit, this guy is the guardian of the stone.
Dude, I
So-
hope that's like a bonus scene.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say you want to talk cut stuff they cut. That
Yeah.
could be it. I want to see it.
Like how
Yeah.
awesome would that be? Like,
Right? Like, I didn't even think about it until just right now.
Yeah. No,
Like,
you're right.
literally-
holy shit,
Cap-
that would have been amazing.
should've-
Why did you not show us
yeah,
that?
he had to go to Vormir.
To turn it
Honestly.
back in.
But you're right. Like, does that what? I mean, what do you do? Do you just be like, oh, here's your stone back, or do you get Black Widow back?
Hey, can I have her soul back? Here, you can have the stone back.
Yeah, trades
That's another-
these.
Tradesies. Or is it just like like when you do a return without a receipt, you're like, all right, I guess I'm just getting nothing, but here
You
you
get
go.
store credit.
Yeah, you get
That way,
store credit.
next time you want to borrow the soul stone, you can come and you don't have to
Yeah.
kill your best friend.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no one has to die next time. You can just
So-
borrow it for like 5 minutes.
So I just said the word best friend, right? Captain America's best friend is Bucky. Did Bucky know he wasn't coming back?
I don't think Bucky knew.
Bucky
I-
knew.
But I think Bucky.
Bucky knew.
had
He
an
said, "I
idea.
will miss you." When
Yeah.
when Steve was going to be gone for 5 seconds, when he's sitting on the bench, he tells Falcon to go. Right, he's the one who sees him and already knows what's going on, and he has Falcon go. So I think
he knows.
Steve and him must have talked to be like, "Dude, I'm going to go return these things. I'm going to talk to Peggy. You're awesome. I think I'm going to make Falcon be Captain America."
Yeah, to be
they had to have
honest,
talked.
To be honest, did he have to talk with Bucky, like growing old, like growing up together and stuff? I hate to say it, but I think he probably had an idea that like, dude, this dude ain't coming back.
Yeah, right. He's
Like-
going to in the same time as Peggy again. He knows where
Yeah.
she's at. Yeah.
He can
It's
narrow her
possible.
down and knows exactly where it is, and he has to go there. Like, no, like I think Buck knew. Like, at
Right,
that
either
point.
way, yeah. Either
Yeah.
way, I think Bucky knew like he wasn't coming back. I only caught that the second viewing
Right?
because
where
obviously,
he-
like I knew what was going to happen. The first time, I didn't know what the hell was happening.
well, and it
Yeah.
makes sense that he's the only one that's not really that surprised
Oh,
when
he's not
Hulk is like,
surprised at all.
oh no, like there's something going on. I can't find him. He turned off his transponder, and
Yeah.
he's like,
He's over there.
yeah, he's like that. You mean that guy?
Yeah,
Like,
Joe Biden sitting over there on the bench. Is,
He did look like Joe Biden.
he
So-
looked just like Joe Biden.
he did look a lot like it. Like, and so we talked a lot about the de-aging stuff, which they did awesome. Again, right in this one, way to go for the makeup and stuff to age Chris Evans like that. They did a good
Oh,
job
yeah,
on
he
that
looked good.
too.
Yeah.
Like he looked like an old man. Like I believe that he was a grandpa. Like, and holy shit, does that mean if he's back in thing, there's potentially Captain America's kids? Like, did they have kids?
Maybe.
Could we
Possible.
potentially
okay,
get like?
so the Iron Man 3 kid, I almost thought that was somebody else's kid. Like when they messed stuff up, like I almost thought that was like a Captain America kid for a second.
I was waiting for that kid to just come out and grab him, and be like, "All right, Grandpa, it's time to go."
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
thought it was
walk him
something
off.
weird like that. Yeah.
That would
So who knows? It's possible, right? There's a whole lot of questions from really that 2-minute scene.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Not-
it's crazy.
I'm still mind tripped about the whole Vormir Captain America Red Skull thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
that's awesome. It's a good catch, man.
Yeah,
Really
that's
good
a good
catch.
catch.
That's professional podcast level stuff right there, Scott. Well done.
it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite proud of that.
It's almost like you've been doing this for 81 episodes.
Yeah,
Whoa, I
it
know.
is.
Crazy.
I have to bring in. So the scenes here has a thing. The fact that he went back and hooked back up with Peggy, doesn't that make his kiss with Sharon a little weird? And like the fact that they were almost gonna bone,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
does he have to be like when Sharon is born? He's like, I came about this close to boning her. Like,
What happened to her?
Yeah, she was just in that one or
Civil
two
War,
movies.
right?
yeah, after
Yeah.
Civil War. Well, no, she was in. Yeah, after Civil War, she's like, I have to go out on the run because I'm a traitor again. And
so
she's
she's
disappeared.
like Captain Marvel. She shows up once every 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Did you guys think Captain Marvel was going to be in it more than she was? Because I totally did.
I
thought she
did.
could-
I usually I don't think so, and this is why I think it's that ultimate, like, hey, how do you, if you have, and I think this is the whole thing with like Superman and like these like Justice League and stuff like that, like if you have this all powerful being, like I said it raises the stakes too much and it just causes too many problems.
It was good that they explained why she was around. Like, hey, like
Literally, except the 3 seconds they said they explained it away. Like, hey, you know what? There's 1,000 other worlds, like I said, and they don't all have Avengers. Perfect thing.
that fits so well with me to be like, yeah, that fucking makes sense. Like,
Well,
she
they
has
did
to
it
go.
like twice too.
Yeah,
Right? They did it the first time she showed up, and then they did it when they're doing those hologram like FaceTime things with Black Widow. She's like, I'm gonna go see you here next month. They're like, nah, I'm not gonna be around for a couple years. Right? Like, we got other stuff to take care of.
Yeah, she magically has a new haircut.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
what are you doing? You can go get another haircut.
Right.
It's-
You're not busy enough to get a haircut.
I was gonna save this to try to maybe do for next week, but I'm gonna do it now. Can I tell you my other gripe other than the whole time travel plot hole shenanigans?
Yes. Go.
It has to do specifically with the scene with Captain Marvel. You guys know exactly what it is. I think here to go with here. The girl power scene.
Oh yeah.
So here's why. Here's why I have a problem with it, and it's not the fact that it's in there because it was fine, right? The girl power scene was unnecessary to the point that you just had a scene with that character flying through a goddamn spaceship and destroying a spaceship, right? To the point where it's bombarding the Earth and it has to stop its bombardment to try to shoot at you on your re-entry because you're that much of a threat. Spider-Man has the gauntlet. She lands, takes the gauntlet, and is like, and then all the ladies have to show up to like clear her path. Why? Like, I'm pretty sure soldiers are less dense than a spaceship.
It's like with multiple different parts of me. It's more fan service.
So, but here's my point: is you could have got the same impact with just Captain Marvel because it still has the whole girl. If you wanted to do the girl power, she's it. Like, you don't have to bring all the other ones around. Like, it was pandering, and I saw straight through it.
I don't necessarily know if it's pandering or not, because like I said, there's been rumors and rumblings about a whole Valkyrie and like I said, the women that follow like there's supposed to be that in the works.
Well, in the A team, right? The A team was all women.
Yeah,
no, it's what is it? The Lady Liberators. I was looking for it, right? I think that's what we were setting up.
I think that's that whole setting up that, and I think it's not necessarily pandering. I think it's fan service, but it's fan service for a purpose.
No, hold on. So Thor 4 is going to be Lady Liberators, right? It's going to be Valkyrie, right? Because Thor isn't, the Asgard guy anymore, so it's going to be Valkyrie. But she's going to have to call in all her girl power friends to help her out.
Yeah. So, it was just one of the things I'm like, you didn't need to bring in everybody. Like in that sense, you could have done that with the same impact and the same message without having to bring in everyone who were like magically showed up there. Like half of them, like, I just saw in a battle, like you're on the other side of the goddamn battle, and then you show up there so you can have that moment.
Yeah, me and Scott were talking about That's the first thing I said too. Like they're in this huge battle. What's the likelihood that all of these characters are going to be in the same spot at the same time? It's just like when they did Infinity War. They did the same thing.
Can I tell you something else that's going to be an even bigger mind trip than that? It's an even worse situation than that. So we got we have Captain Marvel. She's interacting with everybody, right, throughout the entire movie. I said at the very beginning scene, "Hey, Thor, I like her." Blah blah blah. Right. So in Infinity War, we had that end credit scene where they're messing around with the pager, right? How do they get the pager? Like, so where does that come from? How do
Nowhere.
they use it? Like,
So did someone find it on the street and is like,
who knows about it? And then how did they get it? How did they contact her? That scene wasn't even in Endgame. Like,
to be fair, that scene I think doesn't need to exist. Like, it needs to be like a non-canon thing. No, but I mean, it did because it was the post-credit for another movie.
Where did that fit in? Like, it didn't exist. The way I took it is she was just flying by and she saw like Tony Stark and Nebula just floating there, so she helped them out.
Right. So, and it could have been Tony or Fury turns on the pager, which calls her, and she runs into the ship on the way back because that's
sure.
Yeah, and because they were going in the same direction. Maybe she was somewhere near Titan, right? That makes 100% sense. But the fact that it makes it seem like she showed up to Earth, then goes out to find Tony, and then comes back again with him, like it
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And then with them fiddling around with the pager, like I said, there's no way that they would have that.
It didn't happen. Like I think they kind of wrote that out of existence.
Well, I think what happened is they wrote that in just as a special nod to like she's gonna be in Endgame, like specifically for that. And that may have been one of the things that they did at the reshoots and filmed later. But yeah, it does not fit into it, and it makes less sense when you think that because she would have had to come to Earth, do that little "Where's Fury" scene, then they're all dead, and then she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to Titan, I guess, and then runs into Tony's ship. It's like, guess what, I'm bringing him back.
Or like she saw a ship floating when she was on her way to Earth, and then they're like, oh, our friend's missing, and they're like, oh, I think I saw him like driving around.
Yeah, he broke down, and she's not a hero. She's not really a hero to go help it. Like, it makes sense that she happened upon it and then realized, like, this dude's from Earth. I'll take him back. Like, he's gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, she had to know where he was supposed to go and stuff too. But I don't know. It was weird. It's better not to think about it.
I was really curious how they were gonna save Tony from space, and I was like, man, I hope they don't do the Captain Marvel thing where they just have her fly up there. Because, in the vastness of space, what's the likelihood she's actually going to see him sitting out there? Very, very small.
The only thing I can think of is we have to go back to that scene did happen. They knew where Tony flew off to, right? Tony, Spider-Man, all them were on, they flew off. So most likely he's on Titan. So she went to Titan to go find everybody. And, he must not have gotten very far. So she's like, oh, shit, there he is.
But still, I mean, if you go out in one direction for a long time,
space.
Traveling in space for like 23 days, he would have been so far away.
That still doesn't solve the problem of how does she even interact with the Avengers in the first place?
First off, and Jeremy's question is,
man, I wish they would have got out just a little bit differently because
Fury gets dusted. I'm going to give it to Jeremy's point. Fury gets dusted. He drops the pager in the middle of the street. Does a random passerby pick it up and go, I should go to the Avengers? Like,
it's New York.
Right?
Somebody picked it up and they're like,
going to pick it up and go, this is pretty. I'm going to keep this.
I can pawn this for some drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, free pager. Like,
it makes no sense. Like, Good Samaritans don't know, like, this has S.H.I.E.L.D. written on it. It doesn't. It literally has Captain Marvel's logo on it, according to fucking the end credit scene. They don't know what that means. Who got that?
Yeah, that to me was like just like a I was waiting for it. Like I said in the very beginning, I'm like okay, hey, they're gonna be. Like I said, Captain Marvel's. Like I said, the whole Captain Marvel arrival thing is gonna be, like I said, a bigger thing than what it was. Instead, she was just there.
Yeah, and it was disappointing.
That to me is, like I said, such a big, huge plot hole that they could have taken care of, but they didn't.
Even at the end when she shows up, like her scene was over so fast.
Yeah,
like it was kind of disappointing.
I did like the fact that it showed her like why she had to be away when like he starts punching her and then headbutts her, and she just like
That was cool.
just brushes it off. I'm like, okay, that's the Captain Marvel like we needed to have this whole time. Like, why do you not have the one that's
but
he has to like do the full power of the Power Stone to like even do anything?
Fair. But yeah, fair. All right. I was gonna say, so who's more powerful though? Captain Marvel or Scarlet Witch? Because Scarlet Witch almost got him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
he had to kill his own people.
They might be pretty close in this because they're both powered by Infinity Stones in this iteration. So they could be fairly equal just on, different power source.
I was actually surprised how long Thanos lasted in battle, because when we saw him in Infinity War, most of the time he had at least one Infinity Stone that was helping him in battle. And he's still having a hard time. In this, he's younger, and maybe that's the reason why.
He's like, but he's not that much younger.
He was kicking serious ass. And
it's 2014. 2014.
He didn't have an Infinity Stone the entire time.
No.
And he was kicking ass. Like he was doing like really serious damage to every single Avenger.
See, this is right before he started just chilling in that purple chair that floats in space. So he's lost, he's got the little muscle atrophy and everything. So, this is all pre that. Like
he packed on some pounds for being lazy. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's chilling on his floating chair in space, yelling at Ronan. So
right.
I was surprised how well he was doing. I was like, okay, that's much better in this battle. But that's kind
of a plot hole too.
I honestly think it should have been him and the Black Order just chilling down there, and then so they had to fight all of them at one time, and I think that would have made more sense. But you're right, like, dude, Strange went like toe to toe with him when he had everything but the time and Mind Stone, and just do the little rap thing now that he doesn't have all the stones. You did something that held him when he had stones. Like, just send fucking Doctor Strange after him. Just there you go. Now go beat his ass. Now that he can't alter reality.
Moses.
Yeah. Or how about this? At no point did they not do like the little mirror world thing so they wouldn't destroy anything. Like at a certain point, you could have prevented the ship bombardment from just doing a big fucking mirror world, right?
That would have been
like
cool.
You had a ton of sorcerers that could have done it. Mirror world. Why they established that in Doctor Strange? They've never used it again. That they can put themselves in an alternate dimension where it doesn't impact ours.
Yeah. It sounds like Scott is gunning for the new role of leader of the Avengers now that Cap's old.
Yeah.
Right. You've got some good strategy.
Right. These are things that now I'm starting to go through and I'm like, wait, you had Wong and Strange there. They could have easily done that.
So one thing I do appreciate though about this movie is I like how I said you still have the humor aspects of it. But they up the violence just a tad, and I said, and I think that's the perfect amount. Like, so for example, like honestly, I thought one of the coolest scenes ever was when freaking Falcon just freaking impales someone.
With his wings.
Yeah.
All the Ronin stuff. I really want to see like Ronin was running around doing that for years, right? I want to see some type of like Ronin spin-off prequel kind of thingy. Yeah.
We're forgetting one of the most badass things is when they first find the we'll call him future Thanos, right? Like the old Thanos, where they find him and they walk in Grandpa Thanos, where when Thor walks in, first, like, he without hesitation just cuts his arm off so he doesn't have the gauntlet anymore, and then talks for a little bit and just flat out just like hacks his head off, and he's like, I'm not making that fucking mistake again. I was like, Jesus. They just they cut his arm off and then decapitated that motherfucker. Like,
that scene was awesome. You're right. Like we didn't talk about that one yet, but that was one of my favorite scenes too. And it happened so quick in the movie, and all of a sudden he's like dead, and you're like, what? Like that happened within like the first 15 minutes. It's crazy. Nobody saw that coming.
No, and just the thud and then the bot thing. And it did that. It did a Game of Thrones like head roll, like on the ground, where you're like,
right?
It signifies that like that head is he cleaved that goddamn thing off.
All right.
I did not expect them to decapitate somebody in a Marvel movie.
Important Funko question: do you think we can get a headless Thanos pop, or does that not work with the bobbleheads? They'll find a way, right? They'll find a way.
Make a little severed arm, the bobble part.
Severed arm Thanos. Like literally,
the arm pops off.
Yeah, if that is a San Diego special, like just
Right.
take
So
my money now. Like I will buy it.
burn half of the face on his
Yeah.
knees with the arm on the ground, and then just as long as they have a Thor that's like getting ready to hack, and then you can put the two of them together, I'm sold. Like a 2-pack, a twofer
Movie moment.
yeah, of him decapitating Thanos.
Yeah.
Kind of talking about like different moments and stuff though. How awesome was it to revisit some of the moments of some of the past movies? So we kind of alluded to it before.
Hail Hydra.
The Hail Hydra scene. Like,
jeez.
that was
Yes.
like, hey, he wants me to take this over. No, I don't know about that. I don't think so. But Hail Hydra.
That was awesome.
And they look and the other thing I love that specific scene, Jeremy. I love the fact that it mirrors almost exactly the elevator fight from
Yep.
from
Right?
Winter
You
Soldier.
thought he was going to beat the crap out of them, and nope, he's just like, Hail Hydra.
Right, and it just ended a whole different way because they're like, oh, he's one of us.
Yeah.
And like
just let him go.
you see Grillo there just like, oh, and then like walks out. Like that was amazing.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
awesome.
Such a cool scene. It's funny as we're talking, I keep thinking of scenes that I want to talk about. We could talk about like this for a whole nother hour, maybe in a whole nother episode. So maybe next week we'll talk about all about Endgame again, because you can see how passionate we are. We all just love this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, this is at least we got a part 2, maybe part 3, depending on how well next week goes.
Yeah. True. There's so many things I still want to talk about.
Well, and we haven't even talked about what's next. So yeah, definitely STS Guys Endgame recap part 2 coming next week for episode 82.
Whoa.
82. That is crazy.
82 is Endgame part 2.
So in the meantime, you want to head over to shumistore.com and buy yourself some Avengers Endgame pops for 10% off by using code STS Guys.
Yes. Nice.
Well done.
Save yourself some money on Avengers Endgame pops. And thanks to the chat. Thanks to everybody that was participating as we were talking. It was cool to read everybody's favorite scenes and what they thought about the movie. So thanks to everybody that was active. It was fun.
Yep, I agree. Shout out to all those audio listeners out there in SoundCloud and Spotify and Apple Podcast land. We appreciate you too.
And we also appreciate our listeners on Podcoin.
Well done.
The podcast app that pays you to listen to podcasts.
Yep. You can find all your favorite podcasts like the STS Guys, like Talking Pop, like DC Figures and Collectibles. We're all on Podcoin. It's available now in on iTunes or no, Apple. What's
Apple
the thing
Store.
called? Apple Store. Thank you. I totally blanked it. It's not iTunes.
And the Google Play Store.
In the Google Play Store. Podcoin. It's the best.
Did you just steal someone else's like?
Yes.
It's the best.
Podcoin.
It's the best.
I like it.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that was. I think that jingle's taken.
Podcoin. Eat fresh.
And if you guys want to follow along in all of our shenanigans, follow us on Instagram at STS Guys. Follow us at Twitter at STS Guys. Follow us at Facebook at The STS Guys. And we are the STS Guys.
Nate shilling like a villain.
We're all trying to participate on this show right now.
Yeah, dude,
This is just crazy, but I like it.
Yeah, we've all switched roles, and I'm uncomfortable.
All right.
For episode 81.
Stop it! No,
Go, Larry.
Next week for more.
go, Larry. No, go,
Go,
Larry.
go, Jeremy.
No, go take us out, Larry. Come on.
All right. For episode 81 of the STS Guys podcast, I've been Larry.
I'm Jeremy.
It's been Nate.
And I'm Scott.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Bye.